Hey everyone, I've got some more information that's possibly been leaked out about World of Warcraft Classic. Now, again, like I've said in my previous videos, take it with a grain of salt. But we're going to go through this added information, and you can let me know in the comments down below what you think of it. So as you remember, a couple of weeks ago, a bunch of us released videos about a leak that had been posted on the German forums, the German World of Warcraft forums, and a lot of us just kind of picked through the leak. And I said at the time, take it with a grain of salt, but there were a few interesting tidbits from that leak that I looked at and thought, okay, this is kind of interesting. A couple days after that, Blizzard then announced a demo that was going to be released at Blizzard. Now, if you remember that original leak that again was released 2 days before Blizzard's announcement, they announced in that leak that Blizzard was going to release that demo. So they had already nailed one thing right off the bat. So as the time has gone on, more and more things from that original leak have started to kind of come true, and I'm not saying everything about this leak is in fact true, but it's so far they haven't been wrong. Let's just put it that way. They made a bunch of points, and they haven't really gotten a lot of it too wrong. So that's the reason why I'm bringing you this additional information. Now, in my last video, there was somebody who posted a comment saying that the person that had originally posted that leak, he has updated that leak with some more information as of a couple of days ago. So I went and did a search for his name. This is him here, Dervolasi. I'm sorry if I butchered that. And again, it's in the German forums. So he's updated it with this information here. Now, for those of you that don't know German, or people such as myself that can only ask things like, how to get a beer or where's the washroom or something like that, this doesn't really mean much. So, of course, you have to put it into a Google Translator or have somebody professionally translate it for you. And this is essentially what it comes out to. Okay, so I've already put it through the Google Translator. And again, it's translated just like you'd expect from Google Translate. A lot of it's not, it's hard to understand. We'll go through it very quickly, and then I'll give my thoughts on it. So fresh stuff, meaning fresh information. At Blizzard, internally, probably just the most violent burn the hat. No idea what that means. The shareholders are extremely nervous, and the pressure from Activision seems huge. Already, one employee has withdrawn from there and built into the WoW Classic team, and half a dozen come from their own company from the retail team. There seems to be an early release of Classic, so still April. So the rumors are correct. The subscription numbers have already fallen into a range as recently as 2005. Not exactly sure what that last bit means, although I'm assuming it means that the subscription rates have dropped quite a bit. Good news, it has finally become clear to Blizzard that vanilla could be a real opportunity. And then he says, I'm ready. I'm really annoying my source every single day for new information, but unfortunately it does not work anymore. So I guess he's not able to get much more information. Luckily, his job was settled. They had a lot of stress due to Black Ops, but that was surprisingly good. That's true. Black Ops went over pretty well. So let's go over this really quickly. At Blizzard internally, probably just from the most violent burn of the hat. Not exactly sure what that means. Maybe somebody that knows German better than I can translate that a little bit better. The shareholders are extremely nervous, and the pressure from Activision seems huge. Now, this point here is something that people have been worried about since Activision took over Blizzard, was that they were going to pressure Blizzard to put out games that were garbage and push them out too quickly. And myself, I've worked in the finance markets I had for quite a while. I worked as in investor relations for companies, not for gaming companies, but for corporations nonetheless. And the pressure from shareholders is a very real thing to have to worry about. So I can actually see this being an issue. Any large corporation is going to be worried about this sort of thing. So keep that in mind. Now then he goes on to say, already one employee is withdrawn from there and built into the WoW Classic team. So I'm assuming that they mean somebody from Activision has been moved over to Classic. And half a dozen come from their own company and the retail team. So half a dozen were come from their own company and own company from the retail team. So I'm assuming that they mean that people that were working on retail have now been moved over to help with Classic, to maybe help get it out even earlier. I'm assuming that's what it means. There seems to be an early release of Classic, so still April. So now he's pointing out that April seems to be their target date. You can understand that if they're bleeding subs and people are dropping subs as quickly as they are, you can understand why they'd want this to be released really quickly, because if, as we expect, your WoW subscription is going to include Classic, it's going to increase the number of people that are going to either reactivate their sub or stop from unsubscribing. So I myself probably would have unsubscribed if it wasn't for the fact that I need something to stream, right? So, but otherwise I may have unsubscribed. I'd say of the people that I know that are started playing BFA, I'd say probably roughly half or maybe even more of unsubscribed already. Or and I don't know of anyone that is really enjoying BFA, and that is odd, because with every expansion I've seen people that, at least some people, that have enjoyed it. Now sure, maybe the overwhelming majority didn't like it, but I don't know of anyone that is really enjoying BFA. So anyways, he's predicting an April release date. Good news, it has finally become clear to Blizzard that vanilla could be a real opportunity. Now this could specifically be from all the virtual tickets that they sold. I am of the belief that the number of virtual tickets that they sold for this BlizzCon far exceeds what they were expecting, and is showing Blizzard just how tremendously popular vanilla or Classic might actually be. And with seeing how incredibly popular it might be the reason why suddenly they've done all this sort of stuff by bringing in a bunch of more developers or programmers from other areas within Blizzard Activision to focus on getting this out as quickly as possible. Hopefully that doesn't mean that they're going to screw it up. That's a worry, but maybe it just means more manpower and they're able to get more stuff done. I think they know what vanilla is. They've got all the figures and data for how strong mobs were and all that stuff. It's just a matter of them getting it in and working with their current programming and servers. So hopefully more manpower just means earlier release and doesn't mean that it's going to be rushed out too quickly. Anyway, so he goes on to talk about this. Now, I wanted to go back to the original league to point out a few things that are now suddenly very interesting, and I bring this up because that, take it with a grain of salt, seems to be getting a little bit bigger. Now, initially he said Classic WoW is in pre-alpha state. Most of the quests are done. Still working on Dungeons Battlegrounds. Now we know we're not getting any of this in. We know we're not getting this in the demo. So they're still they're obviously still working on it. So they're correct. He was correct on this part. 17 devs are working on the game. 2 former NOST. Nobody's been able to confirm or deny it really. But he's giving a specific number for the number of devs on the game. Doesn't think there'll be a long beta phase. We're not even at that point yet, so we can't say whether or not it's correct or not. Now, here's the only changes. Improved textures and spell effects, but still using the old models. Okay? Still using the old models. He was the first person to say that. And what do we have here? This is a release from Blizzard themselves talking, or this is from the data mining that they've got, and that just came out yesterday actually, and everybody's talking about this. They data mined the old login screen, etc., etc. But specifically in here, the data mining brought forth the fact that there's no new character models. They're all the same character models. So again, he's correct. This person is correct here. Improve view distance and colorblind mode. Improve view distance and colorblind mode. He announced this before anyone else has, and in Blizzard's release, they've talked about how the fact that there's going to be colorblind mode now. They just recently talked about that. So he's mentioned this before Blizzard's come out and actually confirmed this. So again, he's correct on that. Battle.net will have some PvP, some restrictions on PvP servers. Now, you'll notice that a lot of people have released videos lately talking about how Battle.net's going to be implemented into into the game, a lot of us have talked about this, but he's not only mentioning this, but he's also mentioning that there's going to be restrictions on PvP servers. I'm going to assume that he's one of those restrictions is that you're not going to be able to talk cross faction with people that are on your BattleNet or friended to you. So if he's right, then we don't have to worry about a lot of that stuff that people are worrying about. He's not been proven wrong, but this is something that, I mean, he's been right about other things. Maybe he's right about this as well. Now, this next point, he said 8 servers per region. We went over this before. I said in the last video where I talked about the leak that I thought 8 was not going to be anywhere near enough. I think maybe they'd initially planned on 8, but now they're talking about far more because, and I think a lot of that has to do with how many virtual tickets were sold. They're realizing now how extremely popular this game is going to be, and they're going, okay, well, 8's not going to do it. Just because they said 8 back here, or this is what they thought like a month ago, now that they're seeing how many virtual ticket sales that they're getting, they're realizing, oh crap, maybe this is different. And I know on the, there was a post, one of the things that was data mined was that there was like 20 demo servers for you to play on, which is fantastic news because that possibly means that there's no sharding and stuff like that, right? That's massive. But I expected that there wasn't going to be sharding anyways. But the fact that they've got so many different servers for that they've learned about through data mining just for the demo, is very hopeful. So it makes me think that they've realized 8's not going to be enough. That's probably going to be dramatically increased. So this is probably what they thought initially. This number's probably changed. No in-game shop at the start. Subs will be included in retail WoW, or you pay less for classic only. Again, that hasn't been confirmed or denied, so we can't say he's right or not wrong. Launch about April to June of 2019. Again, this was done before the virtual ticket was released. Maybe they're pushing that forward with all the extra people that they're adding on. And now the last point here, there will be an announcement and gameplay at BlizzCon. So this they announced before Blizzard had announced it. He was right on this. So yes, I guess he could have just been lucky and got that correct. But it just seems to be that there's things that are adding up where a lot of this stuff is looking like, what, maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. Some of this stuff hasn't come true yet. That's true. But he hasn't been really wrong about anything. So now, a lot of this stuff, I mean, he hasn't mentioned. He didn't mention that you're starting at level 15. He, stuff like that. He didn't mention no DX 12 support yet. Stuff like that. So there's been stuff that he's missed, but that indeed is true. Now, as far as like whether I'm leaning towards believing this person or not, I think at this point I am. Like, I'm actually leaning towards believing that this guy might actually know what the hell he's talking about, because he is getting quite a few of these things right. And the release date of April is very, very exciting to me. And coming from my background of working in corporate finance and stuff, I can understand what he's talking about, where the higher ups in Activision are starting to be like, hey, let's get this out and stop bleeding money, basically, right? So anyways, another piece of information here is that is a blue post that was posted here on MMO Champion. And it says, hi everyone, we're incredibly excited for you all to get your hands on WoW Classic demo next week. Wants to make it as smooth as possible, blah, blah, blah. Then it says over the next 24 hours, we'll be enabling the ability to download the WoW Classic demo through Battle.net app for players who have purchased the BlizzCon virtual ticket, as well as standard BlizzCon ticket holders. Okay, so you're going to be able to start downloading, I guess, the patch where you'll be able to play the demo. Now, if you'll keep in mind, this was something that I pointed out in the leak video, and something that this person who posted this here didn't mention up here, but down here, let's see if I can find it really quickly. Here. The game itself is launched via Battle.net World of Warcraft. You can then switch in the game by pressing a button on the bottom right, vanilla, which changes the whole browser to classic login screen. I was already shown it. It looks just awesome. Now again, we're now being shown this through data mining, and it does look awesome. So I mean, we all probably assumed that this login screen was going to be what we were going to get, but what he's actually predicting, and I actually went to update my BattleNet today, and there's nothing right now where you can, like, he talks in his where are we here? He talks here how in BattleNet there's going to be a down at the bottom there's going to be a little button that says vanilla or classic or something like that. I haven't been able to download any patch yet that Blizzard says we've been able to download. So maybe once we are able to, you'll be able that button will appear. If it appears, start getting excited, because suddenly this guy's been right about that, and that's a very specific thing to actually comment on or make a suggestion. As you know, leaked information, like, that's very specific. So if he gets this right, then I'm just going to say, okay, this is probably all true then. So anyways, this probably turned into a much longer video than I'd intended on it to be, but I just wanted to bring you that extra piece of information where he's talking about exactly when it's coming out. It is kind of, you know, encouraging maybe. Again, try to take it with a grain of salt. It could be nothing, but we're going to learn very quickly. Somebody had also mentioned that this guy has also suggested that they're going to announce the release date at BlizzCon. So we've got, you know, a week and a half until BlizzCon. Let's, you know, hold off until then. But it is starting to get really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. And as always, please give me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And I hope to bring you more videos in the future. Again, have a nice evening, and I hope to talk to you guys again soon.